All right, so we're going to talk thesis statements really quickly here. Um, so these aren't just the only four ways you can ever write a thesis statement. There's nothing about thesis statement writing that is prescriptive in the sense that they always have to look one way or another, but one way or another. But what I wanted to kind of go over with you was the different ways thesis statements can look for the same topic, and just kind of give you springboards to jump off of in case you're a little stuck on how yours should look. So here I've got a topic. It's kind of a not a great topic, but I wanted to give you something that we all understood the text behind it, and something that is totally unrelated to the essay we're writing. This way, we can apply these concepts to anything. So thesis number one here is the thesis that you are used to hearing about in elementary school, middle school. This is the 3-reason thesis. It is a great thesis for when you're learning how to write essays. It is a good quote unquote roadmap of where your essay should go because it gives you 3 reasons, and then you can use each of those reasons as topics for your body paragraphs. Now, there's nothing wrong with this thesis. The problem is that as you write more involved arguments and more interesting essays, this might not actually connect with what you want to prove in your essay. You might not have 3 distinct reasons. You might have one really, really good reason, and you have 3 paragraphs you need to use to explain that. So it's not always going to work for you, and that's why we need to start moving away from this if it doesn't work for your particular essay. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. It makes an argument. It makes it concisely, but it might not work with your essay structure, which is okay. So this one here, number 12, looks just like you, connects to modern society with its reason 1, focus on self-improvement, reason 2, obsession with physical appearance, and reason 3, reliance on plastic surgery. Okay. Now, again, if you disagree with what my number 12 looks like just like you analysis is, I'm not really thinking too hard about it. I'm just trying to get these theses out. Okay, so thesis 2 is a though thesis, which starts with this is really good if you have something contradictory in your topic already. This is a contradictory topic in the sense that it is a Twilight Zone episode from 1964, and it's asking you to connect it to contemporary culture. So thesis 2 points that out and uses the though statement as a jumping off point. Though number 12 looks just like you was written in 1964, its warning against the perils of self-obsession are just as poignant today in the age of Instagram, Face, and social media. Okay, so see how this takes the same argument, but it says it in a little bit more, I think, a slightly more interesting way, a slightly more, this sounds more like my authorial voice, and it still makes a really good argument that I can still talk about, right? I've got an Instagram face I can talk about, I've got social media I can talk about, I got self-obsession, but I didn't just list them all out. And if you're interested, Instagram face is something really interesting to look up. I think the New Yorker has a really great article on it. I'd never really thought about it before. Okay, thesis 3 is just a plain old statement. Just a plain old argumentative statement. The number 12 looks just like you was a warning for modern society that came true, a prediction for the future of cosmetic surgery that plagues American culture today. This is just a statement. It's an opinion statement, right? We've got opinion in here, but it's stated as fact. So this is still an argument. A prediction for the future of cosmetic surgery that plagues American culture today. Saying that cosmetic surgery plagues American culture today, that's an opinion statement, but this is stated as fact. So if you want to go plain and simple, sometimes thesis 3 style theses are going to be the strongest because they just state whatever you're trying to argue as pure fact. They don't care what other people think. They don't need to list the reasons out. They just state it as fact. Now, can you get 3 reasons, 3 body paragraphs out of this? Absolutely. There's so much you can do off of this, right? You can talk about cosmetic surgery. You can talk about how it plagues American culture. You can talk about what number 12 looks just like you warned against, right? But it doesn't just list them out. And finally, we got thesis 4. Thesis 4 is one that includes the author in the thesis as well. So Rod Sterling is the guy who wrote for The Twilight Zone. I actually don't know if he wrote this episode for sure, but he wrote many of the Twilight Zone episodes. If you want to incorporate the author in this, right, let's say all your background information, you talk about the author, you talk about the book, you talk about maybe some history behind the author. This would be a good thesis statement for that because then you bring the author back into your thesis. Rod Sterling foreshadowed the future of America in The Number 12 Looks Just Like You, predicting a world where easy access to cosmetic surgery makes young people yearn for medical procedures. Now, again, there's not 3 reasons baked into this, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do out of this. And this is still an argument, right? This might seem very straightforward, but you're still arguing something. You're still arguing that there is a connection between the 2 things. Because don't forget, the topic, this is kind of a bad topic because it implies, not a bad topic, but this is, kind of a leading topic because it implies there is a connection. Somebody could always argue that there is no connection and that, it was episode of TV that we read too much into because we kind of project modern society onto it. So there's always going to be a counter argument that is possible to these theses as well. Or there should always be a counter argument possible. So take a look, all of these theses, all these theses make an argument, state an argument in a clear, concise way. They're all one sentence, right? Even though some sentences are longer than others, none of them are giant run-on sentences, and they provide an opportunity for the author to elaborate and expand upon the argument in the body paragraphs. They don't, the reason the thesis should be concise is because you don't want to leave it all on the table. You want to make your argument, but you want to wait to include evidence for that argument until your body paragraphs. So hopefully this gives you more of an idea of how theses can sound and could look.